Let's dive right into this explainer. Now, if you've shopped online literally any time in the past decade, you've almost certainly interacted with that iconic bright pink checkout button. But what's actually going on behind it? Well, today we're unpacking a really fascinating external strategic roadmap created for Klarna by the research firm Disruptivity. Just to be absolutely clear up front, this is an external analysis. It converges future scenarios into a proposed strategy for Klarna's future, so it's not some internal leak. But it's designed to reveal the hidden reality behind that famous pink button, charting their incredibly aggressive evolution from a simple buy now, pay later feature into a complete end-to-end autonomous financial operating system.
Here's how this roadmap lays out that proposed ambition. First, the pink checkout phenomenon. Second, surviving the post-ZRP era. Third, the autonomous commerce OS. Fourth, rewiring the revenue engine. Fifth, bypassing legacy card networks. And lastly, the future of finance.
So we all know the famous Pay in 4 option, right? It's become a totally ubiquitous part of the internet. But here is the critical question we need to ask ourselves as we go through this report. Is Klarna actually just a pink checkout button? Well, according to Disruptivity, that simple user interface is masking a far more aggressive structural ambition. They aren't just trying to help you split the cost of some new sneakers. They're actively building a closed-loop super app ecosystem designed to completely monopolize consumer intent and merchant conversion. They don't just want the transaction. They want the whole shebang, capturing your attention from the literal second you start looking for an item until long after it arrives at your door.
Okay, starting off with Section 1, the pink checkout phenomenon, looking at their history and present.
To truly understand where they're going, we've got to look at where they started. Back in Stockholm in 2005, 3 Stockholm School of Economics students founded the company under the name Creditor. Their mission was pretty simple: make online payments easier. But Klarna rapidly evolved. Crucially, they launched their flagship Buy Now, Pay Later feature in 2016, which basically acted as rocket fuel for their international expansion. But pay close attention to 2017. They didn't just stay a tech tool. They secured a full European banking license. Yeah, they quietly became an actual digital bank. And all of this rapid evolution culminated in a massive 2025 initial public offering on the New York Stock Exchange.
And that timeline, it led to some absolutely massive scale. Specifically, Klarna has reached 118 million active consumers. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. That is essentially the entire population of the United Kingdom and Italy combined, all actively using this app. They are processing an astonishing 3.4 million transactions every single day. That's roughly 40 checkouts happening every second across 26 different countries. They're deeply integrated into over 1 million retailers worldwide, powering checkouts for global giants like H&M, Nike, and IKEA. Through their mobile app, they've shifted from being this invisible background processor into a daily shopping destination.
All of this sheer size and staggering consumer reach climaxed in their 2025 IPO. Trading under the ticker KLAR, the company secured an absolutely mind-blowing $17.4 billion valuation. This officially transitioned them from a private fintech darling into a publicly traded powerhouse. But as the strategy report keenly points out, graduating to the public markets completely changes the game. Private investors will often tolerate years of heavy losses in exchange for hyper-growth, right? But the public markets, they demand ruthless, continuous profitability, which brings us to a major strategic hurdle.
That takes us to Section 2, surviving the post-zero IRP era, which is a massive strategic inflection point.
The zero interest rate policy, what we call the ZIRP era of hypergrowth, is definitively over. Capital just isn't virtually free anymore, and that forces Klarna to fundamentally shift its operating model. When interest rates were at zero, handing out microloans was cheap and easy. Now that capital is expensive, the old Klarna model bleeds money. That old model was essentially a reactive business-to-consumer point-of-sale feature. You reached a checkout, clicked a button, and financed a purchase. But the new Klarna has to become a proactive, autonomous operating system that seamlessly spans across both consumer and complex B2B markets. They have to graduate from just giving you microcredit to intelligently orchestrating commerce itself.
And they absolutely must make this shift to survive. Why? Because the pressure is coming from literally every direction. They aren't just fighting scrappy fintech startups anymore. They are in the ring with trillion-dollar apex predators. Think Apple with their Apple Pay Later service, or PayPal's ubiquitous Pay in 4. Combine that cutthroat tech competition with the severe economic headwinds of rising interest rates, which directly threaten the profit margins of their legacy model, and the mandate is entirely clear. Shifting from a single core capability to a multi-sided ecosystem isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a strict survival requirement in today's economy.
Which brings us to Section 3, the Autonomous Commerce OS, and a look at a self-driving future. Over the next decade, Disruptivity projects a radical shift. Klarna is slated to transition from a helpful AI shopping assistant into a fully autonomous, self-driving financial command center. The overarching goal here is to render manual checkout and legacy payment friction entirely obsolete. Imagine a platform that doesn't just process your payment when you tell it to, but actively anticipates your economic needs before you even click buy. It's a total reimagining of the relationship between a consumer and their wallet.
The crucial technological leap making this possible is called agentic AI. Basically, these are autonomous financial assistants that essentially live right inside your Klarna app. These agents are designed to predict your personal cash flow crunches, automatically manage your subscription life cycles, and execute optimized transactions without any manual intervention from you. Imagine your app automatically canceling a streaming service you haven't watched in 3 months, or precisely timing a big purchase for exactly 2 days after your paycheck clears just to avoid overdrafts. It's an incredible shift. They're moving away from just offering you a loan to practically acting as your own personal, automated chief financial officer.
All right, moving to Section 4, rewiring the revenue engine, shifting from a cost center to a full ecosystem.
So, to justify that premium $17.4 billion valuation, Klarna has to rapidly diversify beyond basic consumer retail fees. And they're projecting to do this in 3 major ways. First, those AI financial agents we just talked about are going to drive premium engagement. Second, they're leveraging their proven underwriting engine to push into high-margin B2B supply chain financing. This helps small and medium enterprises finance their inventory and software directly within their own procurement workflows. And third, they are transforming their consumer app into a massive retail media network. Think about how Amazon makes billions just by putting sponsored products in front of ready buyers. With 118 million users, Klarna is sitting on a treasure trove of behavioral data, and they can charge brands massive premiums to place products right where people are already spending their money.
Now for Section 5, where things get really aggressive, bypassing legacy card networks. This is the ultimate disintermediation.
The Disruptivity report explicitly outlines Klarna's intent to, and I quote, disintermediate legacy card networks entirely. They are effectively launching an asymmetric war against traditional financial rails. Right now, networks like Visa and MasterCard act like giant toll booths, taking a cut of every single swipe globally. Well, Klarna essentially wants to bulldoze the toll booth. By owning the entire transaction lifecycle, from product discovery to financing to post-purchase resale, all inside their own app, they want to lock users into their ecosystem and cut out the old guard middlemen entirely. Doing so would drastically reduce their underlying payment processing costs and fundamentally alter the power dynamics of global retail.
So, how do they actually execute an end run around these deeply entrenched global networks? Disruptivity's roadmap proposes doing this by rolling out proprietary Web3 technologies. Specifically, the roadmap highlights the impending launch of the Klarna USD stablecoin on the Tempo blockchain. By routing transactions through blockchain networks rather than traditional banking clearinghouses, Klarna can facilitate instantaneous, incredibly low-cost global settlement. It's a super bold, high-tech maneuver. It's designed to maintain their margin superiority against giants like Apple and PayPal by totally bypassing the legacy infrastructure that slows down modern global commerce.
Finally, we've reached Section 6, the future of finance, and the concept of the invisible intelligence.
Klarna's ultimate goal is no longer to be known as a niche credit specialist or a BNPL pioneer or even a traditional bank. Their stated corporate mission is to literally liberate humanity from the meaningless time spent managing money. To accomplish this, they aim to become the invisible intelligence powering both B2C and B2B commerce. They want to be this ambient, ever-present foundational layer that seamlessly orchestrates everyday economic value exchange from behind the scenes, effectively running the economy's plumbing without ever demanding your direct attention.
So the absolutely crucial point to take away from this entire roadmap is this. As Klarna successfully executes this transition into a self-driving, autonomous financial OS, how will this invisible intelligence change your own shopping habits? If an agentic AI is optimizing your cash flow, managing your business supply chains, and settling global payments instantly via stablecoins all in the background, will you even notice you're using Klarna at all? It is a profound evolution from a bright pink button you click to an invisible intelligence you simply trust. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this completely changes how you look at the future of finance.